virus. Yeah, virus. So there are three different parts. And according to our textbook, we will learn about the bacteria firstly. This is the most important, and it includes the most chapters in our book. So first, we learn about the morphology of the bacteria. So we show the slides, the PPT to you. Can you just imagine what the shape of the bacteria is? If somebody you have ever see some pictures about the bacteria under the microscope, yeah, and or if you go to the hospital and have something just like the internship or something like this, and do you ever see the shape of the bacteria? In the nature world, bacteria, as we had just introduced last time, that it exists in the air and it exists in the water, in the soil, and even on the surface of your desk, on the surface of the body, I mean the skin, and even inside your body, that in your digestive tract, in your small intestine, large intestine, yeah, they are all has some bacteria inside these areas. So like the nature world, the nature, and just like the fruit, the flowers, they have different shape. For example, the apple is a round shape, is spherical, right? And the banana is a little curved and long. And still we have some other shape of the fruits, but most of the fruits they are spherical. They are round one, just like a ball. And the flowers, yeah, flowers has different shape. Then what about the bacteria? Does the bacteria has similar shape just like the fruits? Are they all round, or do they just like something like banana or something like this? So yeah, before we introduce, so I think you guys, maybe you have some sorts, you have some sorts in your mind that you can imagine what the bacteria should look like. So after that, let's see. So first, let's see the size of the bacteria. That it means, is it a large one or a small one? However, as we have learned in the first class, and we all know that bacteria can only be seen under the microscope, that it means you cannot see it by your naked eyes. So you can see here, this is a picture. It shows that human eyes, they can see, I think the smaller, the minimax is 1 millimeter, right? That is, your eyes can see. And the bacteria, here, we can see the bacteria under the light microscope. Okay, so this is for bacteria. Okay, and here we also has the electric microscope. Yeah, and the electric microscope can see even much more smaller, tiny organisms. For example, viruses, and the cell organs inside the cell organs inside the bacteria, and they can also be seen under the electric microscope. So actually, I show a circle on this part. That means this part, you see, 1 micrometer, yeah, to 100 micrometer. That is the size. Sorry. That is the size of most bacteria. Most bacteria, they are they are just between these two different shape. Two size. The maximum is 10 micrometer, and minimum is 0.1 micrometer. However, some of them can be even larger than it, but most of them are just like this. Okay. So the size of the bacteria, it varies with kinds of the bacteria. So different kinds of bacteria, they have different size, and also related to their age. You know, bacteria, just like the human being, they also has an age. However, their lifespan, their life is very short. Only some of them are just only a few hours. Some of them can live for couples of hours and something like this. And it also depends on the external environment. Because some of the bacteria, when they live in a very bad, terrible environment, they will fall asleep, just like the human being. They fall asleep and they grow some other extra structure. And because of their extra structure, their size will change a little bit. So we can see that bacteria, the size of the bacteria, it depends on their kinds. It means the different family of bacteria, and also depend on their age, yes, and then the environment, because they will change their shape in the environment. And what's more, when we talk about the size of the bacteria, in the remaining slides, I will show the shape. This is size, right? And here, this is the shape of the bacteria. And you can see that some of the bacteria, they are just a single, but some of them, they form a chain, connected together. So when it forms a chain, to form something like a long thread, a long rope, then of course the size will change a little bit. It will be much longer, right? It will be longer than the smaller one. So now you can understand that size of the bacteria, it depends on different aspects. Okay, but they will no more, they won't grow much more than 100 micrometer. That it means no matter what, you cannot see by your naked eyes, only can see it by the light microscope. Okay, so bacteria are the smallest live cells. So they are, remember that they are the smallest. Maybe some students, they will argue that, 老师, that the bacteria is not the smallest, because there are viruses. You know viruses, right? Viruses. However, viruses, it doesn't belong to live cells, because viruses cannot be seen or cannot be grouped into a cell, as they lack of some critical organs which can form a cell. So viruses isn't a cell. Then in this way, bacteria is the smallest live cells. Okay, now we know the bacteria. And to continue with it, let's see although they are all called bacteria, however, depend on their shape. Some of them are called coccus, and lots of them called cocci. This is round shape, spheral. Okay, and this one much longer. And it is called rod. And rolled are also called bacillus. And when lots of them join together, it's called bacilli. Yeah. So rolled bacillus means the shape like this. Okay. And the third one, yeah, which has a curved shape, are called the spiral bacteria. Spiral bacteria. So spiral bacteria also has different shape. Some of them, you see, just like the horn of a buffalo, of the cow, right? They has a horn. And then some of them just like the hind legs. Yeah. You know, DNA, right? DNA has a shape like this. Okay. And some of them just like the banana, it has a shape like this, like a moon. Okay. So there are three groups. The main group of the bacteria, they are called coccus, rolled, and spiral. So most of the bacteria, they can be divided into these three different groups according to their shape. Okay, and then let's continue to see shape of the bacteria as we have introduced a picture here to show you three of them. And you can see here the coccus, sometimes two bacteria, they connected together. And sometimes four of them connected together. And sometimes, yeah, the four bacteria, they form a structure like this. And sometimes eight join together. And even lots of them join together. Okay, so let's see one by one. First, we can see that a single bacteria is called coccus, and then plenty of them are called cocci. And a single stick is called bacillus, or you can call it rolled, as we introduced just now. It's rolled. Yeah, rolled. Yeah, you can call it rolled. And multiple of them are called bacilli. Yeah. So first, let's see this one, coccus. Okay, coccus. So as we introduced in the first picture, coccus, some of them are formed by two bacteria. Okay, two single bacteria. It's called Staphylococcus. So you can see couple of them join together, and then four bacteria join together, which look like flower, right? And then there are eight bacteria join together. Okay, and then let's see these two words. Yeah, although they look a little similar, but they are different. This one, Streptococcus. Streptococcus. This one, Staphylococcus. So what's the difference between Streptococcus and Staphylococcus? So here you can see that the bacteria, a single coccus, they join together to form a structure like a chain, chain, CHIN, like a chain, or sometimes we can call it look like a necklace. Women, they put on necklace, right? So they joined one by one from our hand. Actually, they are just a round one, so they don't have a hand or a tail. But just imagine that it formed a necklace, just one by one. It's like a chain. It's called Streptococcus. And this one, Staphylococcus, it means it joined together, which look like grape. Grape, you see, grape like cluster. Cluster means lots of them joined together. So as they are round one, So they form a cluster. Maybe some students you ask, so what is the third picture? Third picture, does it also form the cluster like this? Does it also look like grape? Of course, this one it isn't. Here you can see some of them, two couple joined together. You see this couple joined together, and here it's the same. And some of them are just single. For example, this one is single. So a cluster means here. Sorry, not this one. Let me check if I have some other pictures about the cluster. Oh no, I don't have other pictures, but I will show you a video later. In a video, you can, when you watch the video, yeah, you can get much more clear about the different shape and the different name of the coccus. And what's more, I want to tell you that as we introduced here, some of the bacteria, the coccus, the couple of them join together. Some are four coccus join together. Some of them formed a chain, a necklace. Some of them just form a grape-like cluster. Actually, for a very specific, for a group of bacteria, a family of bacteria, each kinds of bacteria, they just has their special shape. Some of them form a shape like this. Some of them form a shape like that, but they won't change too much. It means if a bacteria, in most cases, they just form a shape like this, so they will never change into this one, or change into a shape like a necklace. So that the shape of the bacteria, it can be seen as the features of a special bacteria. Just like somebody, okay, just like my name is Liu Jie. Okay, so as I am an Asian, so I have black hair and I have yellow color skin, right? So the black hair, my hair color is black, right? And the black hair and my skin color is the typical feature of myself. And what's more, as I am Chinese, so I speak Chinese, this is also a feature characteristic, yeah, for myself to help me to distinguish this person from the other person. So it means for each kind of bacteria, they have their shape, and their shape can seen as features if somebody, just like the doctor, if they want to test or to distinguish the bacteria in the patient samples. So this is the shape of coccus. And then let's see the next one, the rod, because bacillars are also called rod. Okay, bacillars are also called rod. Here you see long rod, short rod. Okay, different rod, spindle like this one, and bamboo. Okay, this one look like a bamboo, right? So all of them are rod. However, maybe for example, this one, maybe you will see, it looks like a coccus, right? Here we introduce the coccus, and some of the coccus look like grape because they are grape-like clusters, they form clusters. Here, you can see here, it also look like grape. However, if you see this one, you will see that it's not round because this is longer and this is shorter, right? So here this one, it belongs to the short rod. And the rod bacillars, sometimes they also join together if they form something like a cluster. So, yeah, it has a shape like this. If they form like a necklace, a chain, their hand and the tail just connected with each other one by one, which look like a long rope or like a chain. It is called something like a bamboo-like bacillars. Okay, so this is shape of bacillars. Actually, this is name of each bacteria. Yeah, these are samples. Sorry, example. Yeah, I just show you example of this bacteria. And what's more, if you see clearly, yeah, maybe some students you will ask. So for the first number one picture, if this is a bacillar, a bacteria, what is this? The red color look like a beard, right? Look like a hair. Do the bacteria grow hair just like the human? And if this is a female bacteria, they have long hair, but the others, they are male bacteria because they have short hair. Of course, it's not like this. So I think if you learn the cell biology, maybe some students know that these are the flagellum. Yeah, flagellum. Flagellum, just like the hair of the bacteria, but they are flagellum. Some of the bacteria, they have very short beard. We call it pili. Yeah, pili. We will introduce flagellum, pili, when we learn about the structure of bacteria later. Okay, then let's see this one. If you see it clearly, you can see that there are some small hair on right here, right? Can you see it? The blue color is very, how to say, cannot be seen very clearly. This one, these are also flagellum of bacteria, yeah, like raw flagellum. And some of bacteria, you see this one is called spindle, or we can say spindle or spindle, both are okay. So they form a shape like they has a belly, a big belly. Okay, so this one also big belly. Now let's see. Let me ask you a question. You see this one, this picture, it just show a special group of bacteria. It's a same kind of bacteria, but why some of them, this one, they look like a stick. You see, they are slim and long. They look like a stick, but this one, they are much more fat. They are much more fat, right? So it looks like in this picture, they have two different shapes of bacteria. What's wrong with it? As they are all belong to the C. Bunterliner. Okay, and here, this structure is the special structure for bacteria. We will learn about it. That is, when they face a very tough situation, they will change their shape and they will grow some special structure which can help them to undergo the bad environment and to survival in such conditions. So here, yeah, we introduce the bacillars and we see different shape of bacillars. Okay, now let's move on. Spiral bacterium. Spiral bacteria include the first one, curved. Yeah, so it's called spirally, yeah, like this. And some of them look like a banana or look like the moon. Yeah, they has a name of Vibrial. Yeah, this one, Vibrial. And the last one, it looked like a helix. So we call it he had Helicobacteria, or sometimes we can call it sparrow cats. Okay, sparrow cats. Sorry, sparrow cats. Yeah. So this belong to the Sparrowbacteria. Okay, now here we just learn the shape of bacteria. Now let me show you a video. Yes. Oh, okay, what's wrong? Sorry. Let me try again. Okay, this one. Can you hear me? Now you can hear me, right? So let's watch a video. Yeah. Bacteria. So wait for a second. Can you see the video? Can you see my cream of the video? Mm-hmm.
No, 老师，
Not yet, 老师。
No. Okay, let me change. 新的共享 which one? This one. Now can you see it? Capsule
Yes, 老师。
Okay.
We have streptococci, which are chains. We have staph that are, remember, the cell division is random, so they get into these clusters. We have Mycobacterium tuberculosis, which we'll talk about later on, and those are bacilli shaped, right, in chains. We have spores, and then we have these spirochetes or spirals.
Oh, sorry.
Have these spirochetes.
Okay, just now, the teacher, she introduced the three shape of bacteria, right? Coccus, rod, bacillus, and the spiral. And as we introduced, you can see that for the coccus, yeah, some of them form a structure like a chain. Some of them form a structure like a clusters, and for the bacillus, yeah, it has flagellum. Yeah, flagellum. Some of them also join together, look like a chain, look like a the necklace, right? Some of them has a shape of sporals. Yeah, sporal. Okay, so let's continue.
Spirals. So the bacterial shapes can essentially assume one of three qualities or one of three shapes. They can be spheres, they can be rods, and they can be curved. And the names, all the spheres are called cocci. The rod-like shapes that are called bacilli or bacillus, and the curved shapes are called vibrio. Or spirillum or the spirochetes. So, but within those three basic shapes are considerable variation. And also these cells can be stretched or compressed, and certainly when they're visualized, they can change shape and so forth. But in general, they can be arranged according to one of these three shapes. So bacteria, now, as I mentioned before, the way they cluster together has to do with the way they engage in cell division. So they can form clusters, they can form chains, and all of that is related to how they divide. So again, to repeat that, so some cocci in relationship to dividing always are found in pairs, and those are known as diplococci. And we saw that there were Streptococcus pneumoniae, which is a pneumonia bacteria, and we also have Neisseria gonorrhea, which is a gonococcus. And we'll be talking about these groups of bacteria quite frequently in other lectures. So here we have the Streptococcus pneumoniae, and you can see the capsule that surrounds these gram-positive bacteria. They are always arranged in pairs. Now remember, gram-positive, what is gram-positive? That's where that cell wall is on the outside. So we always have to go back to the beginning and remember.
Now you see, she gave us an example of the Streptococcus pneumonia. And this is the name of a group of bacteria, I mean a kind of bacteria, the pneumonia. Yeah. And what's more, she just told us this bacteria is a gram-positive and it has a capsule outside. Okay, so about the item, definition of capsule or gram-positive or gram-negative bacteria, we will learn in the following slide. I mean, after the shape of bacteria, we will learn about the structure of bacteria. Then we will know what is gram-positive and gram-negative. And she just told us most of the gram-positive bacteria, they will have a capsule outside. Capsule, you see, these bacteria, two of them join together, so they are paired. So they are paired bacteria, also called Diphyllococcus. Yeah, Diphyllococcus. Two bacteria join together and a capsule outside to form something look like a coat, just like they put on a coat or something like this. So this is an example. And here it shows the bars. I mean, it shows the size of the picture. Yeah. Okay, let's continue.
Remember what these qualities are because it'll help you remember, absolutely. So these diplococci are two spherical shaped bacteria, and in relationship to the pneumoniae, they are surrounded with a capsule. So these streptococci, remember, are long strands of beads. So they're arranged, as you can see in this histogram, they're arranged in these linear shapes. The staph are arranged in random clusters. How does that occur? Remember, it occurs through in what pattern they actually engage in cell division. So one way that I like to think about how the streptococci are different from the staphylococci, and we'll get to that question example at the end of the lecture. But these kinds of terms are really important to remember, and unfortunately they sound very similar, so you have to stop for a second and tune in and remember what they mean. So these coccal bacteria, and tune in and
okay, so in this slide, she told us the Streptococcus, yeah, and the Staphylo. The two names are very similar with each other, but their shape are totally different. And what's more, they are very important for us. I mean, we need to remember it because when we learn about every kind of bacteria, especially the coccus bacteria, it's important to know that which one they belong. Do they belong to Streptococcus or do they belong to Staphylococcus? So the two of them has a very different shape. One of them is like the beads, right? A long strand, a long chain of beads. The other one is like the random clamps or random cluster. Yeah, just like this. And she will introduce the bacillars.
remember what they mean. So these coccal bacteria can occur in square or cuboidal packets. Now remember, again, that has to do with how they divide. The rod-shaped bacilli are long chained. They can become long chained. They can also be single. They can also be on their own, and they can also acquire, or they can actually be arranged in these angles from one another, and sometimes the angles can be random, but they still have that rod-like shape. So that's very different from the cocci shape. And the bacilli, of course, have pointed ends, and they're comma-shaped. And so these comma-shaped rods then are known as Vibrio. And these Vibrio, for instance, Vibrio cholera is a very important waterborne area, and it causes the disease cholera, and we'll be certainly talking about cholera in other lectures in the course. But you can see sometimes the Vibrio have flagella and sometimes they don't. So to continue with our shapes, we can have the spirilla shape, which are bent. So here's an example of the spirilla, and you can see it twisted, and it's surrounded by a cell, cytoplasmic material. And then the spirochetes are a corkscrew-looking bacteria, and they form a helix, and the helix is formed around the axial filament. So we'll see examples of them in other discussions. So
Okay, that's it. So yeah, by share the by share the videos, we just know more clearly about the shape of bacteria, right? And so after the class, maybe you can search some bacteria. You just need to search any kinds of bacteria you are interested in on the Google, and you can see the shape of the bacteria. And then when you see the shape of bacteria, just compare it with what we have learned today, and then you can put them into the group which we have learned. Do they belong to coccus? Do they belong to the bacillus, or do they belong to the spiral bacteria? So then after that, the shape of bacteria, we need to learn the structure of bacteria. So here, it shows a typical structure of bacteria. So let's see. Okay, this is really a simple picture. Yeah. So they have flagella, right? Flagellum, and then they have cell wall. Cell wall is the black one surrounded is the cell wall, and then the cell membrane. Okay, here the yellow part, the brown. Okay, it should be the brown. The brown part is the cytoplasmic membrane. This is the membrane, and inside it has the nucleotide acid, and ribosome. Yeah, something like this. And we can see that here, some of the bacteria, they have short beard, not a long hair like this. It has short beard, short hair. It's called pili. Yeah, pili. The long hair is called flagellum. The short one is called pili. And what's more, here is capsule. Some of them will have a capsule, just like in the winter. When the temperature come a very little bit cold, then you need to put on a thick coat, right? You need to put on a coat outside. So the capsule is just like a coat, a clothes for the bacteria. Yeah, they put on a coat to help them to survival. Some of the bacteria, they have capsules, and the capsule which just cause disease to the human being, and the capsule sometimes it can cause the immunity reaction from the host. Okay, so let's see structure of bacteria. The bacteria, some structures, they are very typical and very important structures, but some of them is the special structure, just like the capsule, flagella, pili, they belong to the special structure. But the cell wall, the cytoplasmic membrane, the nucleotide acid. This one are very basic structure. It means without this basic structure, it cannot survive. So let's see, basic structure and special structure. So please remember which of them belong to basic structure and which of them belong to the special structure. So as we just introduced, cell wall, cell membrane, cytoplasm, and the nuclear materials, they belong to the basic structure. And the special structure, it includes the capsule, flagella, pili, and sporo. What is sporo? Do you ever heard about it? Sporo? So let me just show you. We will learn it later, but right now I just want to show you sporo. Okay, here in this picture, you may notice, and I also remind you to see the different shape between this rod and the other bigger rod, which has a fat body. So actually, this bacteria and this one, just like them, they just form something called sporo, inside the bacteria. So that's why their morphology look different from the other rod-like bacteria. So this is sporo. So the first one we need to learn is the cell wall. Cell wall. So today we will finish the cell wall. We will introduce the cell wall of the structure, and then we will stop here. Okay, so let's see cell wall. This is a general introduction of the cell wall. I told you the situation and how the weight of the cell wall, something like this. The function of the cell wall to prevent large molecular passage, and some other. The most important cell walls. Okay. First, the cell wall can help the bacteria to gain much more resistance to the environment. Second one is the cell wall can give the bacteria a very typical, means most of the bacteria, the material on the cell wall is just the material which cause toxic reaction to the host. So the cell wall contains something special. So let me show the gram-positive and gram-negative. So this scientist, he evolved, he just find a method to distinguish the two main group of bacteria, so gram-positive and gram-negative, to staining bacteria. And we can see that here is the cytoplasm inside the bacteria, but outside the cell membrane, the cell wall are totally different. So gram-positive, the cell wall just contains the peptidoglycan. Okay, this green part is peptidoglycan. It's really thick. And for the gram-negative, the peptidoglycan, the green part, is really thin and slim. It's really thin, just like a piece of paper. Okay, and outside the peptidoglycan, it has an outer membrane. Okay, it's called outer membrane. So the red one is outer membrane. Okay. So maybe some students, you will think, why, teacher, should we learn about the different cell wall of the bacteria? It's the structure, basic structure of the bacteria, but why do we need to learn it clearly? because the materials on the cell wall of bacteria will just cause the immune reaction to the host. This is first one. And the second one is some of the drug, the medicine, which can kill the bacteria or eliminate the survival of bacteria, is because the drug or the medicine, they can destroy the wall, the cell wall of the bacteria. That's why they can kill the bacteria. So we need to learn about it. So first, let's see, this is gram-positive bacteria. This is gram-negative bacteria. You see, gram-positive bacteria, positive, remember this one, positive bacteria, their peptidoglycan, you see, so much thick, look like a bread. So this is a bread. But for a gram-negative, they look like a biscuit, right? They look like it's a crisp layer, just like a biscuit. So here let's continue. Although there are some pictures and there are some other words here, but I just want to continue here. It can show much more clearly, but you can also compare here, such as teichoic acid, and this one also has teichoic acid, something like this. You can read this part PPT and you can go back to the picture to just have a look. So for the gram-positive bacteria, and the most thick part is the most important. You see, it's like a bread, very thick. Okay, this part is peptidoglycan, and outside the peptidoglycan, it has teichoic acid. So teichoic acid. And first, peptidoglycan, it contains backbones. Just like human being, we have skeleton. So peptidoglycan, it has backbone. Okay, let me show you backbone. This one, you see the M and G. So the M, okay, the M means this acid, and G, it means, yeah, another kind of acid. So M and G, so they form a backbone. You see, backbone is formed by Mg, and they have something which cross bridge. So yeah, the purple, purple. This one is the cross bridge. Okay, cross bridge. So as they both have skeleton, yeah, they have backbone, skeleton, and they also has cross bridge. So the gram-positive bacteria, the peptidoglycan is really thick and really rough. It means it's very, how to say, it's very hard, just like they can form a net which has a very good resistance to the environment. Okay, and then they have teichoic acid. They have so how to say, a wall teichoic acid, as well as membrane teichoic acid. Wall teichoic acid, they just grow here from the peptidoglycan. They grow here, and some acid, they grow from the cell membrane. You see the yellow part. So they are called the membrane teichoic acid, or sometimes we call it lipoteichoic acid, because the cell membrane are full of lipo. Okay. And for the gram-negative bacteria, they also have peptidoglycan, and they have lipo, and the lipoprotein. Okay, let me show. This is gram-negative, right? Sorry, this is gram-positive, and here is gram-negative. For the gram-negative bacteria, they also has the backbone, M and G. However, they don't have a bridge, a very strong bridge between each kind of backbone. So they just form a very loose connection with each other. So the gram-negative, the wall, cell wall of gram-negative bacteria is much more loose, not very tight as the gram-positive bacteria. And so here is the okay. Sorry, it's wrong. Oh, all right. Let's just continue. Then this picture showed dicoid acid. Dicoid acid. Some of them, you see, dicoid acid just grow from the peptidoglycan, but some of them grow from the cytoplasmic membrane. So this one called wall dicoid acid. This one called membrane or lipodicoid acid, as we introduced just now. So wall dicoid acid WTA, lipomembrane, lipodicoid acid LTA. Okay. And function of the dicoid acid. First, it's see, negative charge, antigenicity, adhering activity, something like this. Okay. Adhesion means the bacteria to how to say two of one bacteria connect to another one, or sometimes the bacteria they find themselves to the host cell. They try to keep in touch with the host cell, and during the process to be in touch with the cell of the host, adhesion activity is important. Okay, and this is the surface of the gram-negative bacteria. You see, this is peptidoglycan is really thin, not thick, only a short layer, and outside is the outer membrane. You see, gram-negative outer membrane, just like this. So there are something look like grass. This, what is it? So this grass are the lipo-LPS. Okay, this one. And there are some other protein, some other protein inside it. So this is the gram-negative and gram-positive. So here is also a picture show the gram-negative and gram-positive, but I want to show you a video, just like just now. It can make you much more clear of the structure. So here, I just record a video.
The gram-positive, gram-negative, and the pleomorphic bacteria which do not have a cell wall on them. So now the basic.
So this teacher, he will draw pictures on his whiteboard, and by drawing pictures, he will draw it slowly and one by one. And when he draw the pictures, then you can understand very clearly about the gram-positive and gram-negative cell wall. So please watch it patiently, and after that we will finish. We will come back to our PowerPoint again for the last slide, and after that we will finish the class today. Okay, so now let's watch it.
Structure is this. that from inside out, so if you are looking at this bacteria, this inside is the cytoplasmic membrane. This is the cytoplasmic membrane. This is the same membrane which is present in all cells. So the structure of this membrane as we know it, this is going to be a lipid.
So first, he told us that inside the bacteria there is a cytoplasmic membrane, and all kinds of bacteria they has same cytoplasmic membrane. And he just draw a little few round shape. It's called the lipid, right? Because in the membrane, you know, the membrane are two layers of lipid.
This is going to be a lipid bilayer. So that is this structure. So same thing. The only addition here compared to other cells is that this membrane has penicillin binding proteins. Penicillin So when we'll talk about penicillin, we'll talk about it. So this is the plasma membrane. Outside the plasma membrane is the cell wall. So if I start making a little structure here, we had the plasma membrane, which you just saw. So this is the plasma membrane. Outside the plasma membrane is the cell wall. The cell wall structure is actually, it's a peptidoglycan. So what happens is there are multiple layers of peptidoglycans.
Yeah, now he told us that outside the cell membrane, they are the cell wall, and the cell wall is peptidoglycan. It's made of peptidoglycan, right? And he told us that there are multiple layers. So he drew some lines to show you there are multiple layers.
And what does that mean? What is it made up of? It is made up of peptido and glycans. Glycans means sugar, so there are multiple sugar backbones. Normally just two types of sugars are present, N-acetylmuramic acid and N-acetylglucosamine, called NAM and NAG. These two are sitting there in an alternative fashion. So NAM, NAG.
So he told us glycan means sugar. So there are two kinds of sugar, NAM, NAG, right? We just now we show you here this one, NAG, NAM. What is NAG, NAM? This one just MG, MG, NAM. This one NAM. This one NAG. There are two different kinds of sugars. Yeah, there are two different kinds of sugars. NAM, NAG, they form the backbone. Yeah, the backbone of the cell wall of gram positive.
NAG. So this keeps alternating. So NAM, NAG, NAM, NAG, and so on. On the gram positive bacteria, this layer, peptidoglycan layers, are up to 60. Up to 60 layers. In gram negative bacteria, there are just up to 3 layers. So gram positive up to 60 layers, gram negative up to 3 layers. So of course, you can see that the gram negative is going to be very thin, this layer, the cell wall. Now in this layer, in the gram positive bacteria, so I should actually make a layer on the side just to make sure that we can separate out the positive and negative. So let's say this is plasma membrane. here. This is peptidoglycans. Peptido. On the gram-negative side, plasma membrane, peptidoglycans are up to 3. So 1, 2, and 3. The space around the peptidoglycan in the gram-negative, this space, both sides, is called periplasmic space. So this is gram-negative, this is gram-positive. Periplasmic space is only present in the gram-negative. Then outside the gram-negative peptidoglycan is the outer layer, which is made up of, again, a lipid bilayer. So let me make the lipid bilayer here. Another lipid bilayer. This is gram-negative. And this has this, again, this looks like a membrane, right? But it has one more interesting thing in here, and that is that we have lipopolysaccharides here. So this is a lipid bilayer, just like another plasma membrane, so another cell membrane, but it contains lipopolysaccharides, lipopolysaccharides. So what that means is, on one side, it has lipids. So let me make, this is the regular phospholipid, but this is LPS. So the blue one here is going to be LPS. LPS has lipids on one side, then it has a, so these are actually connected with 2 sugar molecules with the phosphate. So phosphate, phosphate, and the sugar molecules. Then above that is a 5 sugar core, 5 sugar core, and above that are up to 25 above that, above the core, is another long chain of sugars which are up to 25 units of sugars or carbohydrates, which are again, so these could be 3, 4, or 5 units, and there can be up to 25 units.
Okay, so let's see here. For the gram-negative bacteria, as the teacher told you, you see, this is the cell membrane, right, for the bacteria. And this one, peptidoglycan, as they are only 3 layers of peptidoglycan. And here they are another lipid unit. And yeah, here is the, you see, just like what he draw like this. So here are some core. It is called lipid A. Yeah, the yellow one is called lipid A. And outside of the lipid A, it's the sugar unit. And the lipid A and sugar unit are formed the LPS. This one, LPS. Okay.
That is the outer membrane. So this is called lipid bilayer containing lipopolysaccharides. This is called outer membrane. So now you got the plasma membrane, periplasmic space, then the outer membrane. Now on the gram-positive side, if you come here for a second, the gram-positive have little protein molecules or peptides coming out of the cell wall. So this is the cell wall, the peptidoglycans. So these are small protein molecules coming out. These are called teichoic acid. However, some of these teichoic acid, which are polyribitols, some of them are, or glycerols, some of them are connected all the way down to the plasma membrane. If they are connected to the lipids of the plasma membrane, these are then called lipoteichoic acid. So this one is a lipoteichoic acid and this one is a teichoic acid. TIECHOIC, teichoic acid. So lipoteichoic acid and teichoic acid. These lipoteichoic and teichoic acids are the ones which will, from the gram-positive bacteria, these are the ones which would induce tumor necrosis factor and IL-1. And that is when they'll cause the inflammation and they would cause the fever, and they can cause septic shock because this would create a cascade of inflammation and other things. On the other hand, in the gram-negatives case, it is the lipopolysaccharides which induce TNF and IL-1. So it is these guys, the lipid bilayer, sorry, the LPS. So that is the basic structure. In addition to these,
Okay, now he just introduced and then
things. On the other hand, in the gram-negatives case, it is the lipopolysaccharides which induce TNF. It is the
So just now he introduced for the gram-negative bacteria, the teichoic acid will cause fever and some other symptoms, right? For the host, for the patient. And for the gram-negative bacteria, it's just the outer membrane. Yeah, outer membrane, the lipids, bilayer, LPS, yeah, the lipid and sugar connected together and form the LPS, which will cause TNF and some other symptoms. So this is very important for you to remember, right? So then after we watch the video, let's see the function and the cell wall. This is the conclusion. Okay, after that, we will finish the class today. So let's see the conclusion of the cell wall. So first, it will maintain the cell's characteristic. It means it will make the shape of the cell, and it can counter the effects of the osmotic pressure, and it can provide attachment site for bacteriophages. And what's more, you can see it's play an essential role in cell division and be the site of major antigenic determination of the cell surface. So that is the structure and function of the cell wall. And what's more, you must remember to memorize the gram-positive and gram-negative cell wall. What's the difference of them? Because in the whole semester, when we learn about the different kinds of bacteria, first, the very first step when we try to learn a kind of bacteria, first is we need to divide them into maybe if this bacteria is gram-positive and gram-negative, and we will after that we will continue to check to test their other characteristic. But the most important and the first features is the gram-positive and or gram-negative cell wall. So that is for today. Do you get it? So after the class, okay, let me tell you. After the class, First, you'd better search kinds of bacteria you are interested in on the website, on the Google or something like this, and just try to find different shape of bacteria. Yeah, you can download the picture and you can write the name of the bacteria, and then you must write which kind of group does it belong to coccus? Does it belong to bacillus? Does it belong to spirobacteria? Yeah, so just download. At least you must download and find six kinds of bacteria, and please write their name and write which group do they belong. Okay, this is the first. And the second homework is please write down the difference cell wall between gram-positive and the gram-negative cells. Okay, this is we have two questions you need to do in your homework. So this is for the class of this week, and I will send you the PPT to our group. And today we just learned the cell wall. Okay, and we still have other structure such as cell membrane, cytoplasm, nuclear materials, and special structures. And as I suppose you guys have learned about the cell biology, so you must understand and already learned about the cell membrane, cytoplasm, and the chromatin, something like this, the nuclear materials. So for the remaining three parts, I will just introduce in a very simple word. And next class, we will focus on the special structures. Okay? All right. So, yeah, that is all for today. Thank you so much. Yeah, class is over now. See you.
OK 老师。
Thank you, 老师。
See you.
再见。
Thank you, 老师。
And remember to submit the homework. Please submit the homework to your monitor and the monitor, and you can collect all of them and just send me in PDF. Okay? All right. Bye.
OK。
再见，老师。
再见，老师。
再见，老师。